Okay, so we are back with another episode of Biz Mindz, and on this episode, this is an exciting one for me. We're here with Juan Maza. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah. And Bonsa, you've known Juan for
I know Juan because we have a friend in common.
Yeah.
And I think I saw you probably a couple times.
Yeah,
maybe.
we've seen each other a couple times
Yeah,
in a couple places, parties or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, but we never really had a long conversation. So this is
Yeah.
definitely a great
Yeah, actually the first time that we
Yeah, it's the
engaged.
first time,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
the first time we engage in conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a good one because so we're all from Peru,
Yes.
right? Juan, you came when you were 21.
I was 21. Actually, literally 20. I moved here 4 days before my birthday, my 21st birthday. So technically I was 20, but yeah,
Wow.
you can say 21.
So, and when you moved to the States, was it Florida?
Florida, yeah. Straight into Coral Springs, Florida.
That's right.
That's where I arrived.
Yeah, yeah.
And I spent the next 15 years in Coral Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about when you arrived, right? From Peru to the US. It's completely different, right?
Very different.
Very different.
Yes.
Going from third world country to
Yeah.
a first world country. What were some things when you arrived that did you know what you wanted to do with your life?
Dude, I'll tell you, I had no idea. First off, in Peru, I was a complete mess. Just like from the get-go. I went to college in Peru for 2 years. I ended up getting kicked out of college because I was not interested at all. I'm a really bad student.
Yeah.
I am really bad at it. Like just learning that process of learning, of reading something and just memorizing and repeating in a test. It's horrible for me.
I can relate.
Oh my gosh!
Likewise.
I can't do that. I can't. I don't like to learn by reading things. Like I'm a learner, better
Hands-on.
learning by doing or listening. I love to like the audiobooks are the best thing that they've invented because now it's so much better.
Yeah.
So I moved here. I got kicked out of school, and I was lucky enough that my dad was already here, so the papers were not an issue, thankfully. So that actually helped a lot. And I remember I got kicked out of school, and December 22nd, I think, 2004, I had into a car accident. I crashed my car. I was already kicked out of school, and just to top it all off, I crashed my car doing illegal racing on the street. So my dad couldn't be any happier with me. That was a spectacular moment in my life. And then I remember I told my dad, I don't want to be depending on people sending me money. I want to work. I want to do something with my life. I don't want to be like asking you for money every 2 weeks. I just want to move out to the United States and do something with myself. So 3 months later, March, it was that quick. Thankfully, all the papers came out and I moved here. And I was like, okay, now what do? I don't speak any English. I know I gotta make money because everybody gotta make money here.
Mhm.
And my first job was at a warehouse. It was at a warehouse, moving boxes, piling up pallets inside containers in the middle of summer. A lot of fun. Yeah, it's really nice and cool inside of a metal container during summer. And then I lasted there for 6 months. I was desperate. I was like, I gotta do something else. First off, I was making $8 an hour, $9 an hour. I was like, I gotta do something else with this. So I started going to interviews, and I didn't know any English. So when people tell me, "Oh, I'm nervous for an interview," I'm like, try not knowing the language and going to an interview, and you actually need the job.
Yeah.
So I was going to a job agency, a hiring agency, and I took a test for a company. It was a computer test, and I failed it because you are supposed to write so fast, and I didn't know the language. I was like trying to type. It was a mess. And the guy's telling me, "Hey, I'm sorry. So you didn't pass the test. We cannot hire you." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, whatever. Okay." Dude, literally, I was sitting in front of the guy, and the guy, he was like, I'm sorry, call comes in. And the guy goes, oh, sorry, let me just take the call. And the guy goes, the girl was quitting on the phone with the guy. I was like, oh, this job, I can't take it. I quit. I was like, and the guy turns around, hangs up the phone. He tells me, hey, you wanna take a job for $14 an hour? I'm like, heck yeah, $13.75. It was they were paying me. I was coming from $8 an hour to $13.75. 7 months later of me moving here, I was like, I'll do whatever I have to do. Well, this job was in Boca Raton. Everybody spoke English. Dude, I was being hired as a marketing assistant. So as assistant to a marketing person, director, whatever in the company. And I don't think I've ever sweat so much out of being anxious and nervous, because my boss would call me, which is the worst too, because when you don't know the language, the worst way of communicating with you is over the phone. At least when you're in person, you can guess, I mean, by the movements or something, you can figure something out. Yeah. But with the phone, there's nothing. It's just what comes through the phone. So she would call me over the phone and start telling me things. Oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I would literally write things down phonetically, and then go to the bathroom, call somebody that spoke English, and try to read. It was my stepmom at that time. I was reading to her what I had phonetically put on the paper, and we were trying to make sense of the sentence that I had for me to complete the task that was given to me. Dude, this went for like that for months, and it was horrible because I was so nervous all the time. They're gonna fire me every day. They're gonna fire me. They might have thought that I had a stomach issue because I spent a lot of time in the bathroom. Because I would go to the bathroom, I start calling somebody to help me translate what they had put on me. It was either that or the other option was I would just not do it and wait until they call me again. And then on the second one, I was completing my sentence. Every call to tell me that I hadn't done what I was supposed to do, I was completing my sentence to actually make sense of what they were telling me, because I would call somebody with what I had and they'll tell me, well, that doesn't make sense. There's got to be something else. So I just waited there. They called me again. I was like, oh, that's what I was missing. I complete the sentence and then call back to the person, and the person will tell me, oh yeah, they're trying to tell you to do this and that. So I was like, oh, okay. So
how long did that job last?
That lasted about a year, I think.
A year?
Yeah, that lasted about a year.
Your boss didn't know that you didn't know English?
She knew, but the benefit that I had at that point is that everybody had quit that position. That girl that called that day was quitting after 2 weeks. Because the economy was still good. I mean, it was early 2005 or mid 2005. So economy was still good. People were just looking for better and better jobs, and nobody was taking that position. So when I took it, they were just keeping me there because I was the only one that stayed.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, fine, we don't care. We'll keep you here."
Yeah.
But that was how I learned English essentially. But
what did you go into after that job?
When they fired me, because that was they had it was something with home lending related. So when the whole market crashed in 2005 or 2006, I think, but at that point,
everything went down.
Everything went down. So yeah, the guy that doesn't speak any English is
He's the first one.
The first one to go. So I was like, see ya. I was like, okay, I get it. No worries. And then I took a quick job into a data entry because I needed something to just keep making money. Yeah. That lasted, I think, a couple of weeks too. Then I went to work at the Boca Resort, which is by the Addison. I don't know if that huge pink hotel in Boca. It's a really nice one, which years later I ended up staying there. It was funny how the whole circle went around, because I was a bellman at that place, and I lasted there like I think 3-4 weeks too, because I still didn't. They put us in a place where you couldn't make a lot of tips, and your hourly rate is so low, so you can't make any money if you don't make any tips.
Yeah.
So I was like,
And I can just read this guy from like in a second, man. It's because for entrepreneurs, like you never find the right place for you, right? It's like you're always looking something to create and always something to do.
Yeah.
But I get his energy like right away.
Yeah. No, likewise. What was the job? Because I'm assuming after that there was a couple more. What was the job that kind of gave you a little bit of realization into, man, maybe it was the trampoline to go into
definitely
your own business?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I went to work for an appliance company for 6 years. At this point, I had tried multiple times to do something. I knew I wanted to do something because my dad always was into business, so he was always doing something, and I knew I wanted to do something. Not because of the money or anything. It just, I guess, now that I think about it, it was just because that's what I saw my dad doing. So I was like, oh, I want to do the same thing, sort of thing. Never really thought much of it. And then I remember I spent 6 years into this appliance company. And at the end, I was literally almost getting anxiety attacks because I was if it sounds cliche, but literally I was sitting on my cubicle and you feel the walls coming down on you. You can't breathe. And it's like, I remember just stepping out of the office to just take a breath because it was horrible. And what was happening is, now that I think back on it, it was my mind and my body telling me, this is not for you. You got to do something with it, you know? And it's unfortunate because some people, I feel that when they have that in their life, instead of addressing it, they go to the doctor and then they get prescribed some medication to calm the anxiety instead of actually addressing it and doing something else. It's most likely, if that's happening to you, unless you have some trauma or something which is deeper than that, it's the world or your own self telling you, you gotta do something else. This is not for you. It's in some aspect of your life. In my case, I guess it was my personal development with work and what I was doing with myself, because we didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I remember my AC unit broke in my apartment. I had already moved with my girlfriend. Now it's my wife, and we couldn't fix the AC unit, and we spent 2 weeks without AC in the house. Mm-hmm. So it was. I mean,
do you think that was one of the things that?
It's a combination of things.
Yeah. Because what do you think made you feel like, gave you that anxiety? Like, dang, like you're locked into this cubicle. What was it? What do you think it was? Because you clearly, like you just mentioned, some, instead of people going to a therapist or something, because that's almost like putting a Band-Aid on it, instead of going to the root cause. Like, why am I feeling this way? What's causing me to feel this way? For you, was that particular, the AC going out, was it one of the things? It
could be. I think it was multiple things. I never liked to be broke. So, and being broke, it wasn't fun. So I knew I wasn't I'm not a settler. So I'm not just like, this is the way life is and we're going to go with it. I always liked a good life. I always liked good things.
Things.
Yeah, nice things. So
how long do you think would you say you think you were broke for? Like, period, in your life?
My entire life? until 2014 probably. Wow. So yeah, it was from 90.
How old were you?
39, 40.
How old were you in 2014?
2014.
So I was 24. Actually, 2013 is when I started. I was 30?
You were in your 30s.
30, yeah.
You were in your 30s.
30 or 29, I guess.
28.
Okay.
28, 29, yeah, 28, I guess. Mm-hmm. Right around that time. And so my point to that is, they told me, hey, there is this business, this job. It wasn't even a business; it was a job. This job of claims, and you gotta do door to door and do sales and all that. I was like, dude, I'll take anything. I don't really care right now. It's something that gets me out of this. So how I started was I would work my 9 to 5, and then 5 o'clock would come, and then I would just go door knocking, looking for leads. Nice. And I did that for the next month and a half. When I started seeing the good thing about being broke is that any business you do, you don't require a lot of income to replace that old job because it's so little what you're making that it's easily replaceable. So that's a good benefit. Like if you're making $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, and then you're trying to like stop that income and then do something else. Yeah. It's more difficult if you don't have a backup because you're used to that lifestyle,
especially if your overhead is up there too.
Right. So people that work in a company and they have that salary, it's complicated for them to leave that and just go do something else. So luckily for me, I didn't have that. Well, luckily or not, but I didn't have that. They were paying me really little. I was making $2,400 a month, and my car payment was $500 a month, which is insane. I mean, it's a huge part of my income is getting them to my car. So I started with that. It was easily replaceable. So a month later, I started seeing a little bit of money, and I was like, okay, old job gone out. So now I'm just gonna do this. And at the beginning, to me, and now that I'm seeing it with a friend, my partner, now that I'm getting with, he's coming from the private sector, from a company, into being an entrepreneur and opening our own business. Is that you don't know what to do with your time. Because, now I don't have an 8 to 5. Now I do my own thing. Now you have like 12 hours in a day. What the heck do I do with this? And it's a learning experience to actually utilize your time, to be productive. At the beginning, I was a little complacent. I wasn't a go-getter. It was my period of transitioning from sitting in an office 8 to 5 to actually, now you can do money based on how much work you put in. And that gradually started kicking in, and I went from just being myself to then I saw the business opportunity, growing my team, opening my own company, and then all the businesses that came with it. But that journey of understanding what I wanted to do, and then growing, and then getting something bigger, and finding yourself. Because now, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, now that you're asking me that, when you ask me what do I think it was that anxiety attack that I had, I think it's because I didn't know who I really was. I didn't know what I wanted, and not having a direction of where you want to go. That uncertainty is like, what am I going to do with my life? I'm getting to my 30s. Like, what's going on? I think that was a big factor now that I think about it, because once I found what I wanted to do, and you start knowing yourself better, and you actually have a direction in life, that means a lot. That definitely centers you down and makes you focus on something, and you can work towards that.
Yeah, man. And so you went to work for a public adjusting company first, right?
Yes.
And then
as an apprentice helper, cover inspections type of thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't fully a public adjuster from the get-go.
Yeah.
It was a transition into becoming a public adjuster.
You went through the learning phase.
Yeah.
And then eventually you went into your own company, right?
Yeah, eventually I went into my own company. And then you open up another kind of worms, because it's like, I didn't know all these things.
Yeah.
And then,
how long was the period from, like, how many years?
That was about, I think 4 or 5 years probably.
4 or 5 years of learning to opening up.
Well, 4 or 5 years, no. Learning was a few years. Then I started being more active in that company.
Yeah.
And then eventually I opened my own company.
It seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like that industry, public adjusting, I don't want to say easy, but it seems like people can learn it fast and open up, right? Or no?
You know what it is? I think that you can be a good salesperson, right? And become a public adjuster. That doesn't really mean that you are a good public adjuster. That means that you can generate sales.
Right.
Then becoming a good public adjuster then entails more knowledge and critical thinking to what you're doing, how to negotiate. It's not so easy, but people get it confused. It's easy to get it confused. To generate sales, and you generate sales, and you go, I can be a public adjuster. Or you can do whatever.
What exactly is a public adjuster?
Public adjuster is the person that represents the homeowner in case of a property loss. So if there's a property loss and you need to call your insurance company, your property insurance company, to file a claim, the public adjuster represents you, the homeowner, property owner, against the insurance company. This is before you hire an attorney. You hire a public adjuster, and the public adjuster will make sure that the money that you get for your loss is the correct amount of money. So it was a transition to opening my own company. And then when I opened my own company, I was talking to him about it. How because I didn't go to school, I had not worked at a management position before. How little I thought of, or how little I thought of how little importance I gave management to a company. You know, like, because I realize now that by micromanaging a company, you can do a lot of things, but you're capped at a certain level. After that, if you don't have a proper structure, if you don't have proper management.
We were talking about systems before you.
If you don't have proper management in your company, it's gonna hurt you a lot, especially if you wanna grow.
Scale it.
Because it comes to a point that you're putting out fires every day. And in your job as a owner, general manager, whatever you want to call yourself, to me, the way I see myself now, if I'm putting out fires every day, there is something very off with my process in the company, my management. And I didn't know until honestly recently, last year, what a manager should look like and what they should be able to do. And I was just hiring. I was hiring by convenience, not by skills.
Got it.
Knowledge.
Right? So
Just because you needed the hire.
I need an extra set of hands that do this, I just thought people would know how to do it. You know?
Yeah.
Because I was like, nobody taught me anything, so they should just learn the same way.
Yeah.
And
you didn't really have a plan for that person that was hired. Like, okay, that person's going to do this and that, but not to, where is this person going to take me?
Correct.
You know?
I had no metrics. I had no proper guidance. So it was a lot of trial and error, really. And
how many years with your public adjusting company? How many years now?
5 years, I think now.
5 years now. And how big is the team?
We have, the team of public adjusters, because now I have public adjusters.
Yep.
It's 5 of them in the company. The office staff, we have 4 people, I think, here. And we also have the office team. We have an office in Peru. And we have another 5 or 6 people in Peru.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you happy with where you're at right now?
Yes.
Do you feel successful right now?
Oh, no. I mean, I'm happy because where I am now, not as a company, but as a person with my companies. Yes, to where we're going to. Yes, I think it's awesome. I think what we're doing now, I'm super happy with it.
Were you happy when you were going through that struggle phase, like that broke phase? Would you say you were happy?
Yeah.
Really?
I think you adapt.
Yeah.
I think you
get used to it.
You get used to it. Yeah, I mean, you still gotta have fun.
But were you content? Like,
to a deeper level, no. I mean, to a deeper level, now that I think about it, no. I may have thought I was at that time. There's a big thing that I think is very important to do a self-analysis and be truthful to yourself and look at yourself with clear eyes and not try to filter your mistakes and actually learn. And that's something that I learned over time. And there's a book that I really like about, and of course I'm gonna forget the name right now, but it's awesome book. No, it's called I forgot. I knew I was gonna forget. I said I was gonna forget before I thought about the name because I knew I was gonna forget. So,
but that's a lot of being self-aware. Right?
It's called Extreme Ownership.
Extreme Ownership
from Jocko Wilkins, I think is.
Jocko. Yeah, I've seen his stuff.
Yeah, he's got the Extreme Ownership, which I had already.
Great mindset.
Yeah, I had already done a lot of that work through coaching and therapy, personal therapy. But this book also helped me, and anything related to that. I'll still read it again, and every time you read it or listen to it, because I don't read, you pick something else up, like something you missed on the previous one.
You understand a book, you understand it different throughout the years.
Yeah, definitely. It makes a huge difference. So to me, that is so key, because at that time I wasn't really owning my situation. You think, oh, it's life. Oh, it's unfortunate. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, that's his fault. It's never about you. And I learned that throughout the years, because again, now that I think about it, I don't think at a deeper level I was fully happy, because I just didn't know where I was going. And listen, you don't have to be a business owner. You can do anything you want. You just gotta know what you're doing and what you want for yourself. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, being a business owner is not for everybody.
No.
Definitely 100%. Not for everybody. And I'm glad that it's not like that. Because if you hire somebody, you wanna have that person to be, you want that person to be happy working for you, and they are happy that they have somebody to work for. Yeah. So it's a two-way business. Yeah. We need them, they need us. So it's great. It's great that there's people that don't want to be business owners and they want to be working for somebody. They want a 9 to 5. Yeah. So it's awesome. But you just gotta be happy with what you want and be truthful to yourself. Do like, you know what? I don't want to be a business owner. Yeah. Because people say, oh, I want to be a business owner because I want to have money. Oh, really? So
because I don't want to work too much.
Right. So like it happened to me a few days ago. Like, oh, I want to be a business owner. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay, great. Why don't you get something started? Oh, because I don't have time. Oh, man, really? Oh, so what were you doing last Saturday night? I was going out with my friends. I was like, why didn't you start your business then? Like, why did you go out? Oh, because it's my life. I got to live my life. She's listening to me. I didn't say who she is. But she's gonna listen to this and she's gonna be like, man,
this is gonna be the short, bro.
Yeah. I'm not saying your name, but
you know who you are.
She knows who she is.
You know who you are.
And I'm like, why didn't you start your business on Saturday night? You have that time. Oh, because I have to go out with my friends. Otherwise, what am I supposed to do? Start your business. Like, as a business owner, there's no holiday. There's no Saturday night. There's no friends. There's no going out to the bars. Yeah. You gotta get into it. You gotta go in and just do it and do it on a Saturday, on a Sunday, on your birthday, on your spouse's birthday, on everybody's birthday, on Christmas. It doesn't matter. It's just that's what you gotta do until that thing works. And if it doesn't work, you keep on going because you're learning. And if you're not learning, that's where the Jocko Wilkins book comes to, like, extreme ownership. What did I do here that made this business not work? What could I have done different? Because it always starts with you. Yeah. Always starts with you. Yeah. It doesn't matter to what level, it always starts with you, because you could have done something different. You could have been more clear with your idea or what you were getting into. Like, oh, I want to sell something crazy to a market that doesn't need it. Well, then you should have studied more that market and what you were selling to them. So you just had an idea and you just decided to go. It always starts with you. So to me, I think that self-awareness, it's so important. Yeah. And the deeper you can go on that self-awareness knowledge, and the deeper you can take that to make yourself responsible, I think it's so important. Yeah. It just in business, in life, and anything you do, it's huge. With your wife, with your boyfriend, with whoever people around you, it just makes things so much easier.
I think self-awareness is such a strong tool, and Absolutely. It's a great tool because it could be worked on, like you said. It could be worked on every day, little by little, and it gets sharper and sharper. I wanted to ask you, do you ever think about timing? Meaning, do you think that if you received your success at 25,
complete mess?
Yeah.
Complete mess. Yeah.
Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about maybe like, because I feel like we live in a time now, I'm 27 and all my friends and people that, around my age, I think instant gratification is a big thing in today's day. People want to...
How old are you?
27.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah, people want to go into business right away and make a bunch of money, you
Yes.
know, the next month, and just instant gratification, I think,
Yep.
with the way that everything is today. But you clearly went through a learning phase before an earning phase,
Yes.
right? Your 20s,
Yes.
and then you got into your 30s, you started earning. Do you ever think about that? Like, man, this was meant to be this way for a reason, because if I would have received it at an earlier age, maybe I wouldn't know what to do, or...
Listen, part of myself thinks, hey, it would have been fun to be single and have money. It sounds like, you know, like, I wish I would have had the money. But then I'm like, do I really wish that? It just...
Your wife is watching.
I know, she's watching too. She's watching
How
too.
long have you guys been together since? How old
Since
were you?
2010.
And how old were you?
How old?
39.
No, were you when you
Oh.
guys?
I was
13
20.
You were in your 20s.
Right, I was in my 20s. Yeah.
But what is the other part though? Because I'm sure your wife wants to see. So the other part of it, like, you know how you said, part of me says, I wish I was single with money,
Yes.
but what about
Yeah. I mean, I was
Let me save you there,
imagine, and I talked to my friend. I talked with my friends about this. I was like, imagine we had money when we were single and all that. I think it would have been a mess. I think it would have been a complete mess. I think. I mean, I wasn't. I was never reckless or anything like that. But I think.
you like good
But we're the
times?
brains.
At least that's the way I want to think. I
We're the
want to think that it's better this way than the other way.
Yeah.
I think it's better for my brain just not to think what I would have done with it.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I say if I was single with money, it would have been awful, horrible. I don't want to do that. I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something based on like one of the times that I think it was Alonso's birthday, or I don't know, but that was the first time I actually saw you for the first time. I think, but everybody, and like, have you ever had conversations with? Because not everybody's doing the same thing, right, around you.
Yeah.
But have you ever had conversations where you just feel like you're not part of the conversation anymore, or the conversation is totally different, or it's like a different language now around you?
You're saying because of what? Like, you mean?
I'll tell you why. Because
Yeah.
the first time I saw him, I was wearing black glasses, right? But I was like observing like everybody, and I remember you were like sitting down on your truck, and a friend of ours, he's always making fun of everybody, right? So he was making fun. I think he was making fun of you or something like that. But you were serious, right? And then when I left, I had a conversation with another friend of mine, Alonso, and I'm like, and he's like, "Oh, he was a little serious," and I'm like, "I don't know, man. Like, I had never talked to him, but he's like in business, and it seems like that conversation just wasn't there for him." And I like to think that sometimes, because it happened to me many times, where I'm like, I'll be like, let's just go, because I just don't feel like there's a conversation there for
like
me.
you belong there.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, many times. So that's why I wanted to ask.
I'm gonna answer that question in a minute, but I'll tell you something that I went through when I was coming up, and I remember this conversation with my then girlfriend, now wife. It was like it felt weird. I remember I went and I ordered a nice car, and it was weird to me. It was weird to me because usually when you're with your friends talking shit, can we start here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You're just talking crap, and you go, oh, like, I wish I could buy that car. Like, I wish I could do that and that. And when you start like, oh, I should, like, now I can buy that car. So, like, how am I gonna, how am I gonna participate in those conversations? Like, I wish I could buy that car, and then you're like, oh yeah, I have it. It's a little weird,
Yeah.
But I had that moment of talking to my wife about it, my girlfriend, and just having the conversation, just to get it out of my system. I don't feel, at least, I mean, maybe people could say this, but I never felt that money changed me. Like, not in a way of, I think money in general doesn't change people, honestly. I think it magnifies who you are.
100%.
If you are a complete douche, I think it would just magnify that. It's not like, oh, money made him all like, think too much of himself. Yeah. I think they always were that. It just now you feel in your head, in your little world, that now you're entitled to be like that even more with a lot of people. And I think that if you're a good person, it just magnifies that, and you're gonna help more people, and you're gonna still be who you are. But to your question, no, not really. No, I never felt that. I've never felt that a conversation is above me. My group of friends, whether they're doing great or they're doing their thing, whether they have money or not have money, or they work for somebody or they have a business, they're my friends, and it's still fun like it's always been. I still get together with my high school friends. Some of them are doing great, some others not so much, and it's like you never left high school. It's the same conversation. It's always fun. I mean, I'm not above any conversation or something else just because I do something different than they are. Because in reality, when you're talking to your friends, money, it's really not. It doesn't make a difference. It's just a conversation amongst friends, and I think that being able to adapt, not to adapt, but just because you have a dumb conversation with your friends doesn't mean that you cannot have a smart conversation with somebody else.
Right.
I think it depends on who you are around and what environment you're in. Like if you're partying and you're having a good time, you can just talk crap.
Right.
All night. It doesn't matter. It is fun.
Yeah.
But if you're talking business with a lot of people, and you can just be about business and talk about that. Yeah. I like both of them. I'm still that same guy. That's also what my tattoo is about. I have a tattoo of a guy sitting on the sidewalk, and
I like
what,
that's cool.
And what this is somebody once told me after many years. I had already moved here. We grew up in Peru. And when you are growing up, I don't know how it's here, but when you grew up in South America, a lot of the playing is on the streets. And a lot of the time, you don't realize how much time you spend sitting on a sidewalk, sitting on the streets, right? Yeah. And there was a last time, there was one time, that was the last time I sat on a sidewalk when I was a kid. And then I just grew up and never came back to sit on the sidewalk, because then you go to college and you get a car and you're not sitting on the sidewalk anymore. And all of a sudden it's been 15, 20 years and you haven't sat on the sidewalk for so long. Yeah. And somebody told me, hey, when next time you go back to Peru, go to your street, to your neighborhood, and just sit on the sidewalk that you were sitting when you were a little kid. Yeah. And just look at the street, look at the world from that perspective again. Mm-hmm. Like that's where you came from. That's where you are. And just like look at the kids playing. Go sit in the park. Just go do something that you did when you were a kid. So this to me is that guy. It's me sitting on the sidewalk, just remembering where I came from and who I was, and never losing that perspective. Mm-hmm. And I think that I love. I mean, people can do whatever they want with their life, but I love that, and I love having that perspective and never forgetting where you came from and who you really are.
That's El Callao, I think, right there.
No, actually, it could be. I grew up close to Callao, actually. But no, this is just a random street. It's not a street specifically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just a nice street.
Where did you grow up in Peru?
San Miguel.
San Miguel.
Yeah, it's really close to Callao.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up there. I went to high school close there. Then I went to college. UPC, that's in Monterrico. It's a little far. It was like an hour drive. Thankfully, I could drive. I was taking the bus first, which I hated it. Like I just hated taking the bus in Peru. It's horrendous. 6 a.m. It's horrible. And I think that's also why, because then my dad gave me a car, but the car was like a beater. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, I don't want to have a beater. Like I always wanted to have nice things, like I was telling you before. So when I moved here, my first car was really given to me. My uncle had like a beater that he was never using. He was going to sell it for $500. Mm-hmm. And I had just moved here to just take it. But I was never comfortable with it. So I always wanted to have nice things, like I said before. So
do you still have family in Peru?
A few, aunts and stuff.
But your
my parents are here, for the most part. My dad goes back and forth. But
you have siblings?
A brother. Yeah, my brother is young. He's 14 years old, 15 years old.
And your dad was in business. What type of business?
He was. I mean, in Peru, there's this piloting of cargo ships. Okay. When they come into the port. Yeah. And he was in that business. he was always trying side things too. He was always into that. I want to do my own thing type of thing, and I got that from him. So thankfully.
And you coming to the States and being first generation here, do you feel like you had a weight on your shoulders or something to prove coming from a country like Peru to the U.S.?
None whatsoever.
Really?
No. I mean, it's interesting. Because you know what? Somebody once said that, which made me think a little bit about it, actually. It was, hey, remember when people talk, hey, yeah, we were first generation into this place, like into that country, and we are that first generation into this country. And we are putting a legacy here. We're doing something, you know. It's crazy when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the weight of, I have to do certain things because of how history is gonna look at it 100 years from now. I don't really see it like that.
Do you have any kids?
Yeah, I have 2 kids.
What age?
I have a 1.5, almost 2, 1.5, and 5. But you know what? To those 2 points, actually, sometimes now a little more than before, but I have never done this for somebody else. Like, I have never done it. I don't feel that 100% I do it for my kids. It's like, I do this for my kids so they can have. I'll say now a little more than before. Not a little more than before, but it's always been because I like it. Like, I enjoy it. I enjoy doing business. I enjoy learning. I enjoy growing. I enjoy creating new businesses and then expanding them and then growing them. I have fun with that. It's
and whatever you accomplish is the results for that.
Right. Yeah. Right. Then everything comes with it. Like, I don't do it to I want to have a lot of money. Like, the money is a result of the business, but I enjoy the heck out of the business.
Right.
I really truly enjoy it. So,
and I have a question that I wanted to ask before.
Yeah.
So public adjusting, I suppose there's a lot of things that you have to learn, like laws and stuff like that, right? But you said that you weren't good at all in school. That you didn't like reading, you didn't like studying, nothing.
It was so hard.
So how did you choose that path that requires you to, study and like learn and all that if you didn't like that route?
Trust me, to take that damn test, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It's really hard, challenging. I mean, it gets a little easier when the studying comes about something that it helps you. Yeah, you enjoy it, it helps you. It was still really hard, though. It was still really hard to take that test. But now, thankfully, like I said, there's audiobooks, there's podcasts, there's videos. You can listen to a lot of people. So that helps a ton. That definitely helps a ton because a lot of the information about the laws and the changes, it's all audible now. So you can just listen to it. And that makes it a lot easier. Thankfully, I don't have to read a lot. Even if it's a book, you can just copy paste and tell your phone, read me this whole page, and it will just read it out to you.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'll be suffering
like
even
studying
more.
and
I'm
learning.
so glad I grew up in this time. Because if it was, if it was in the 70s or the 80s where you actually had to read, I'll be a complete loser. I think I'll be a disaster.
Do you encourage your family or people around you to do business?
That is, you know what? I always want everybody to do business.
Why?
And because it worked for me. So,
but in what sense?
I knew it was going to open up.
So I love that because in the sense of, if I go buy something that I like and it worked for me, I'm gonna tell you, go get it. Yeah. You know, like
it opened up. It got rid of a ceiling. Would you say?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
A financial ceiling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So for sure, and I like to talk to people. So when I do something, I'm like, hey, why don't you do that? So I'm trying to. First off, I don't want to be the big shot in the table. Right. So I want everybody to do really well because I don't want to be the one saying, oh, let's go to that place. And then somebody says, oh, I can't afford it. Or,
and then you have to pay for them.
Well, not really. they just won't go. But I'm not paying for them. But
that's why he doesn't.
Yeah. No, I don't like to prepay for people. But
has that as you? I'm assuming. Are you in your close friend circle? Are you the one that financially is a little has gone above a little bit?
I don't know. I don't know. I there's people that do great. I don't know their finances. I don't know how they manage themselves.
Are you one of them?
Yeah, I could say I'm one of them. Yes.
Okay. Has that ever brought complications, like paying for somebody, or people maybe expecting, not only friends but family, like
family? Yes.
Family.
Yeah.
Juan, just can you scoot in a little?
Oh yeah. Sorry,
just in case.
I got too comfortable. Reclining back on this thing.
You're good. Yeah. So it has brought complications like that.
Yeah, but it gets complicated because people, and this is also a learning experience, because one of the things about owning a business and people see you do well, people expect you to give them things.
They expect more.
Yeah, and there, if there is a weight on you, is to what you were saying before, is how many people depend on you, not just your family, direct family, but working people who works for you, the whole structure, how many people you support. It's a heavy weight to take, and I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me, but then there's people in family that they ask you for a favor. Oh, help me, ask me for a job. Don't ask me for money, right? Don't tell me to advice or
something.
Be willing to do something. There's somebody really close to me that I really love. He doesn't speak English, so he's not gonna
he's not gonna understand.
He's not gonna get it. But he came asking for a job, and I was like, hey, why don't you do sales, right? And he was like, oh well, I don't like to sell. Okay, why don't you do this as a technician somewhere here? It's like, oh no, that I don't want to do that. And he started talking to me about why don't we open up a business and do something and da da da. I was like, but have you ever based on what? I don't understand.
What are you good at?
What are you adding to me to open that business, And then somebody, a really close friend of mine too, said, well, when certain people, especially from South America, we feel, ask you for help, they're actually asking to be given something, to a handout. They're not asking you to hey, let's do a business. No, it's give me a management position in your company and let me make a lot of money, even though I don't know what I'm doing. Just give it to me because you can do it and I can't.
Yeah.
So I'm well, and then people get resentful. People get resentful.
Yeah.
I've had a few people actually that got resentful because to their eyes, I guess, I was doing better than them, that were within the same business, and they've tried to really attack me with partners that I had, not strategic, but commercial partners that I had, and they were going to talk shit about me, so they would stop working with me. And you get that stuff, but I think
is also part of business if they weren't your friends.
You know what is complicated with family, friends, because business is complicated.
Yep.
Right.
And when you're in a business, right, sometimes you want to share how you're doing, the success of it with your close people, your family. You go to your family and you tell them, look, we just did this amount this month, or this is how we close out the year last. But that's top line revenue,
right?
And that's not what's in the account,
right?
You know what I mean? But people don't understand. People just hear that top number and they're, oh damn, they're doing that every month. So there must be, even if they just spend half, they have half. Yeah, but they don't. That reinvesting back into the business, that's where it just gets complicated.
And people expect me. Listen, it's your money. You don't have to give it to somebody just because you have more than the other person.
Yeah,
this is not.
You're working hard for it.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, people see oh yeah, I'm going to do something in the middle of the morning or middle of the day, but shit, you're paying those hours back at some point. It's not I'm just gone and I don't pay. I'm paying it back. They only see the top of the eyes, of the iceberg. They see the good stuff, but they don't see the hustle. They don't see the nights. They don't see like I was telling you before, the weekends, the nights, the shit, like the not being able to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty and anxiety on creating business, and you have to be able to put that aside, and Monday morning still have a clear head to take the right decision and not crumble under the pressure, because also that happens a lot. So I mean, people expect a lot, and you learn that with time, and like you said, at some point you see who your friends are and who are not, and I think that's amazing, honestly, because the faster you can get rid of the bad people in your life, the better it is. So it's amazing to me. If somebody gets resentful over something that I don't feel they're supposed to, then shit. Just
that's what I wanted to go. That's what I wanted to ask with the question that I asked you about not ever being over any conversation, like or over anybody. But I feel like many times you can. I think that the better you get at detecting where not to be, or saving your time for, because energy, time, it's important, right?
Yeah.
So just getting out of certain circles where sometimes, everything could be fun. At least I'm talking about myself, right? Like I get out of circles that I think they could be fun,
yes,
right? But maybe at that moment I don't need that,
yes.
So I try to pick and choose and see, okay. And that's why I came up with that question.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'll comment on that too, because like my friends from Coral Springs, I left Coral Springs when I was 18, and all my friends, like if I kind of don't really have, like, I don't frequent them that much really often anymore. But the reason why is because I just don't see myself, and I've been in Naples now 9 years, and it's such a different place, even though it's just a couple hours away, where it's a different demo, older, and if I was to go back to like hang out with my friends in Coral Springs, like I just don't, everybody's like just roasting each other, smoking, drinking,
right.
Like that atmosphere, I guess for me, it's not, I don't feel like I'm above it. I just feel like, man, I don't know if I want to just spend my time doing that.
Well, I get your point now, and to what you're saying. I do run away from toxic people. That, like, toxicity, I do run away from that. And there's people that don't even realize they're being toxic. And
like drama, bro. Like drama.
Because
I can't lend an ear to. Hey, did you know he said this about him?
I know. I mean, toxicity, that just really, that pushes me away really quick.
And that was my first impression, actually, when that day.
Right.
I was like, when I came back, I was like, when he asked me, he was a little serious, I'm like, it's because, in my mind, I was thinking it's because of that.
It could be.
Because,
I mean,
maybe
I don't remember. I don't remember. I may have been also just tired of some conversations. I don't know. It could be.
Yeah, that was my first impression. But then that was like my response to something that could have happened. It was never, and it will never be like me being on top of anybody.
Right.
It was more like, did you feel good at that moment, at that time?
I'll tell you, I don't like to get out of my house. So I don't like to, I like to be in my house. So going to anything is like, oh man, I gotta go somewhere. If somebody's throwing a party, I gotta go to a party. I'm just not, I mean, I do it because I love my friends.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for them. And I like to share that time with them as well.
What about not sharing time? Like, how when you're in business, you have to protect your time. Most of the time you're busy. Have you stopped going places, or maybe saying, no, I can't do that here and there, and then people kind of getting mad for it? No, he doesn't want to do it anymore. He's not.
Well, I may have wanted to, but I just socially was not allowed to not go, so I would still go. But I mean, it's hard for me to get out of the house. Once I get out of the house, I'm okay. But just to like get out of the house, like if there's a party, I can't. I don't like I don't like preparation for things. Like, there's a commitment on Saturday night. I'm like, oh man, I'm just struggling all week.
Last minute? Are you a last minute?
Yeah, I love last minute.
Yeah, me too, man.
I love last minute, but my wife hates it.
I hate it.
I just don't like it. My sister, she likes to plan.
I don't like it too much, though.
Yeah, my sister likes to plan
He
like
loves
2
last
years.
minute.
Oh, my
2 years
gosh.
ahead. I'm like, I can't do that. Even Alonso, he's like, oh, let's go to Texas. Let's go to Peru, the game. When is it? Oh, it's in
2030.
Oh, let me know in May 29.
Yeah, it's so far. I learned that last year or the year before, because it was the first trip we were taking with my kids, and traveling with kids, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Dude, in 2017, we were in LA for a few months, and I was traveling back and forth Fort Lauderdale a lot, and I would show up to the airport 30 minutes before the flight. I actually lost the flight a few times, like more than a couple times. I lost my flight because I was just so close to the time. I was like, I'll just go and just show up there. And then we take a trip with my kids to Utah, and shoot, you can't just wingle it like that. You gotta go. You gotta go to the airport early and check in, and you have the car seats and the whole thing. And there's bags and there's a lot of stuff going on.
And they're hungry and they need to go to the bathroom.
So there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So we almost lost the plane. Like we are pulling into the airport. And I have the gate calling my phone to tell me, hey, where are you? Like, we're about to close the plane. I'm like, I'm about to park. He's like, you're not going to make it. I'm like, well, I think we will. Let's see. And then we parked and they call me again. Sir, where are you? I'm like, I'm about to check in. I was like, you're not going to make it. We get to the check-in desk and these guys were awesome. Delta, thank you for not making me miss my plane. And possibly it could have meant a divorce, honestly. We were late because of me. Because I always decide to do these things last minute, and then I complain about when my daughter does that. She's getting it from me, and we got there so late that I felt so horrible because my daughter wanted to take the trip. My son was really little. I was taking my brother with us, and it was 5 of us. So when I felt that we were about to miss the plane, I was like, I can't. I gotta be more responsible with this. Yeah. So now I try to take my time to do certain things, but in general, I like the last minute things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Planning so far out.
You're a procrastinator.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you know what? To that, I've done a lot of changes for that, honestly, because now, for example, in business. I use Calendly, right? So I give people my Calendly and they book me, and I'm only doing what's on my calendar. So I avoid random calls now because random calls just take me. So my day now it's planned about a week ahead. So my next week is already planned out until Thursday, I think, all day. So it's so it makes you be so much more efficient.
Oh, 100%.
So I've learned to do that because when I started opening multiple businesses, then your time has to be really well managed. Otherwise, if you're not efficient, then
I put you on.
It becomes a mess.
Yeah, it's all me.
Because otherwise you can't. You just can't. You don't have enough time throughout the day to do all the things you gotta do. Yeah. So you gotta look for ways of being more efficient and that's
time management.
I love that, man. I love being more efficient and then having things just planned out. You just kind of have your calendar. You're book that. You already know what you're doing.
I look at my day. I already know what's going on and where I have to go, what I have to do, and boom, that's it.
You can do more that way.
Yeah. Definitely.
When you fill up your calendar, you get things done.
But now people are now getting used to it because now I see my phone and somebody's calling me in the middle of something. So they call me once, they call me twice, they call me 3 times. They stop calling. And 5 minutes later, calling the appointment. Okay, good. That works.
How do they get it? Do you have an automation or something go out?
No. I send everybody that works with me, I send them a link.
Okay.
So that link takes you to my my schedule.
Gotcha.
And you can set up any way you want. I have an hour appointment, I have a 30-minute appointment, and a 15-minute appointment. Mm-hmm. So if you just gotta talk to me about a few things, it's a 15-minute appointment. I'll set up on my calendar so people just take the time based on what I have available.
And they can see your other appointments too?
No, they just see blocked off. It's just blocked off. Yeah, it's just blocked off. So they.
But when they call 3 times and then they go, do you just send them the
No,
thing?
no, they
already have it.
They have it.
Oh, okay,
they have it. Yeah, sometimes they're just being lazy and not
Like when you
looking
call
at
a restaurant so many times to do a reservation, and then you're like, let me just do it online.
Yeah.
yeah, correct. Yeah, the
Yeah.
same thing. So yeah, it works a lot. It works really well. So that's helped me a lot.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because do you think you have a different perspective on life in general, coming from two completely different cultures, Peru versus the U.S.? Because you came when you were 20.
Yes.
I came to the States when I was 3, but I quickly realized, like, wow, in Peru, there's things that people focus on, like, oh, what's your last name, or what school did you go to, or where do you live?
Yeah.
Like that's your status, or that's who you hang out with, right? But here in the States, you'll have, you go to a public school and one friend will live on this side of the road and struggling, right? And that's where you're at too. And then the other friend is on the other side of the road, but they're in a nice house. It's like completely different, just 1 mile difference, right?
Yeah.
And nobody cares because everybody's friends, everybody's hanging out,
right?
And I feel like that's a big difference than Peru. So, and you came when you were 20. When you got here, did you feel like, damn, things are kind of upside down where I came from?
The first thing I felt is that I missed on all the high school parties. I wish I would have been here in my teens so I can enjoy those teenage parties a little more. Because I saw what was going on here. Like, man, I wish I would have come here a little sooner. Because I missed a lot of these parties. They seem like a lot of fun. And not for nothing, but girls I think a little better looking here sometimes than Peru, especially depending on where you are. Not in general. There's really pretty women in Peru, but where I was, maybe could have done better. But
is your wife Peruvian?
No, she's from Argentina. Yeah.
And what would be like your advice to somebody in Peru that's, let's say, struggling, wants to come to the US for a better life, more opportunity? What would be your advice in general? It doesn't have to be about business, but maybe it could be about mindset. It could be, hey, just in general, what would be your advice to somebody from Peru? South America too, but the vibe in here is Peru right now. So
I know. There's a big cultural difference, meaning in South America, I feel there's this law where the I don't want to say the smartest, but the what is it called? The how do you say the street smart?
The pendejos?
The pendejos, the street smart guy.
I was gonna say it, but
the street smart guy always wins, right? Like there's this criollada, this thing
Let me
that
Google translate that.
because I don't know what the translation to that is.
How do you translate pendejo?
Pendejo.
Which if you use it here, one day we were having a conversation. He's like, so one of the most important things.
Google Translate is the assholes.
One of the most important things.
That's not right.
No, that's right.
What is it?
The assholes.
No.
That's not right.
Well, that's how they call it, but it means something else. And he was saying, how in Peru sometimes they say, "Oh yeah, he's pendejo," and he's blah. But then he's like, "Yeah, but he's done nothing with his life."
And they praise it.
He's like,
they praise it. Like, oh, you're like super pendejo. Like you're super, and they like, oh my god, that's the guy, But yeah, hasn't done anything at all. Yeah. He's like, he's the street smart of the one.
What does that really mean?
I think in this country it's a negative because sometimes I think that the cultural difference also with Americans versus, let's say, Peruvians or Hispanics. Mm-hmm. I think Hispanics, you have to win their trust. For Hispanics, you have to win their trust. Americans, they will give you all their trust right away. They don't even know you. They'll give it to you. But as soon as they're cold in that sense. Yeah. As soon as you do something to betray the trust, it's like you're out. Yeah. But with Hispanics, it's always like, if you go into a business deal, if we're going to do a business deal, the mentality is always like, is he screwing me over, or how can I get the upper hand,
Yeah.
or have the
Or if we're gonna do business,
Instead of-
who's gonna win, who's gonna
Yeah.
lose. Right?
Yeah.
Can you give me a discount?
Because and that's that's so big. because I think to be honest, I think that the reason why they act like that in Peru is because society forces you to act like
have
that.
to,
Otherwise,
yeah.
you don't go anywhere.
That's your normal.
The beautiful thing here is that here you just gotta work hard.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like you don't need to know somebody. You don't need to pay somebody that's up to like take you some. No, here if you just work hard, you'll make it.
Yeah.
And you'll make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like you can just be cutting grass, and
It's all on you.
you can have the biggest grass cutting company in Florida.
Yeah.
You can make a ton of money. You don't need to be that pendejo person to
Right.
make it here.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, I think that difference is key, because if you do that here, you're gonna get burned so quick, with so many people, that then you will have nowhere to go. You're gonna have to move somewhere else to do it. So that those people that have that attitude, they have to either change or they just get burned really quick. So that's the biggest part of it. If you are a hardworking person, you're gonna do great here, but really great.
Yeah.
The things that this country eats you alive if you don't work.
Yeah.
You have to produce money here. Unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, that's the way. So if you just come here, especially South Florida is so expensive now that it really eats you completely. It swallows you, because the bills keep coming and just takes you down. But if you don't produce, it's a really hard place to be in.
Yeah.
But in general, if you just want to work hard, this is a perfect country to be in.
Yeah.
If you just want to relax and take a 4-hour nap, then maybe go to Europe or something.
Yeah. Work hard and be open to like throwing your ego out the way.
Totally.
And learning. Because sometimes we were in the food industry, and I would tell my brother sometimes, like when we would hire somebody new, like, man, that he works super good. Like works such a great worker. But then, you know, in the food industry, everybody bounces around everywhere. You know, it's like the most.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like always looking for the upping the hours.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you go 1 year and you've worked at 40 different places, and it's like, damn. But now you're burning bridges all over the place. So instead of just giving value, providing value, and that will come around. But I feel like a mix of that. And sometimes, man, it's as simple as having a conversation with somebody. You know, sometimes you don't know, even just because you're in the States doesn't mean you still understand the system or the culture in the States.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, there's people that are born here that they don't really get it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but that's why I go back to that extreme ownership situation to know. To actually acknowledge your mistakes and work on them. You gotta work on yourself. I mean, nobody is born worked on. Like there's work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
There's
either
therapy or coaching, and personally, business, anything you want to do.
Yeah.
You always need somebody to give you a honest feedback that you can trust, and that it comes in a way that is non-judgmental way. Yeah. It comes a feedback to you that, hey, this is a positive feedback for you to grow. Now, if you start also pushing that aside and pushing back on that positive feedback, then you have bigger issues. You're not doing great in life, not economically, but just personally.
Yeah.
As a person, you may feel that people don't understand me. I don't have any friends. Everybody's leaving me. Everybody's crazy, you know.
Everybody's crazy.
Yeah, that's so. I feel so bad for people like that, because even though. Some people are not bad people. They just don't know. They're just so blinded. Yeah. And to make somebody see like that is so hard to make somebody understand that. There's no, you cannot take an advice that you're not looking for. Yeah. So if you're not looking to hear something, you're not gonna hear it. You can say it in 1,000 different ways. Yeah. If you don't want to see it, you're not gonna see it. Yeah. You have to be willing to see it. So if you're not willing to work on yourself, people can try to help you all they want. But if you're not ready to take that information, you're not going to take it. Yeah. It's just going to bounce off of you.
Do you feel like you're currently doing things for like to help others besides like employing people and all that, but kind of like inspiring other people to do better?
That's a really interesting topic to me, because I sometimes feel that I want to do that and sometimes not. Like, it just takes a lot of energy, I feel, you know. Now, what I have learned to do is to read better to who actually is willing to receive that information. Because, like I said, there's people that are just not willing to. And you can tell that really quick. Like, they come complain, you tell them something, and they go back and do the same thing. They're not listening to you. So, like, you don't want to change. You're just happy with being unhappy. And there's a lot of that. And that's the toxicity also that I was talking about. You know, there's people that just, okay, so I'm just not going to get involved. Like, you can work for me, we can work together. I'm just not going to get involved anywhere past that line of work into your personal stuff. As long as it doesn't affect me, then you do whatever you want. But I like to talk to people. I like to talk to people. I like to reflect personally on a lot of things. And find reasons why certain things happen to me or to others, just to reflect on ideas and understand people better. So every chance when I get a chance to talk to somebody, also let me go back on that, because I find that people find inspiration. Like, I find that I've inspired people to do things without me trying to inspire them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
And I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was like, I was like, dude, he just moved to a nice house, and he doesn't want to post the house online or anywhere. He doesn't post the house. And I'm like, why didn't you post it? Because there's so much negativity online and people start hating on you. And I'm like, I've gone through that phase personally. But you know what? People are going to hate. Like, it doesn't
regardless.
change. Yeah, people are going to hate. It doesn't matter.
They're going to find out and they're still going to hate.
Yeah, so I'm like, but you know what? There's also people that don't hate. And there's also people that find inspiration in that. And there's also people that
get happy for you.
Right, they're happy for you. Or they go, hey, why don't I do something in my life to make that happen? Or either with me or not with me or on their own or with somebody else. But like, oh, I want that too. How do I do it? I want to do those things. I want to have those things, or whatever they see in you, because everybody is inspired by a different thing. So whatever they find inspiration in you, like that, I've gotten some feedback that I can tell you I've inspired people, not willingly, but just by them looking,
sharing your story,
and they found just something that they liked in me. But I've thought about talking, and that's why I also want to get into the podcast thing to share more ideas. And I find it really satisfying when somebody grows. Either with you or not, but if they can grow with you, it feels better. Like when you see people that they came looking for an opportunity to actually work, and you can give them that platform,
put them in a different position,
and then they actually put in the work to take themselves to that different position.
100%.
I think it's amazing. So being that platform for people like that, it's so satisfying. It's so, like, you can see people going from the little house or the shared place to now their own thing, and they're getting better and bigger things. And listen, and then they move on, and then they do their own business. I don't care that you don't have to work with me for us to be friends or not. That's your life. It's awesome. But I like that they are now doing something on their own, and they found a different way. They could have done it without me. It just happened that they did it with me, and I was part of that journey, and I love that thing. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction.
You guys think a lot like you guys.
I just feel like we're here for a reason, and you choose if you want to put the message, either a positive message or a negative message. And that's one of the reasons why we created the podcast too, because we were like, okay, there's a few things that we know about business, like what to do, what not to do. And I feel like instead of just saying, hey, you should do this, you should do that, let's just have a conversation with other people, other industries that can share more information, right? And then you choose if you get inspired or not. Right. You know, maybe you watch the podcast and you're like, okay, you know what, I didn't like it. Right. But there could be a ton of people that say, you know what, that happened to me. so now I know how to fix it, or things like that.
And sometimes it takes one message. Sometimes it just takes one interview, one phrase, one thing that makes somebody click. And to what you were saying too, and that's why I was telling you I want to do this podcast with my friend, because I feel that we are going through so many changes and so many learning experiences that you want people to take advantage of that. And hopefully there's someone somewhere that would not make the same mistake, because the most difficult thing is learning through somebody else's experience.
Yeah.
You always hear people saying, oh, don't do this, don't do that. And you go and do the same thing.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
even if you can
Don't mess up your credit.
Right, don't mess up your credit. That's a big one.
Fucking everybody, 90% of people.
Listen, messing up my credit was part of my growing, but my growth, by the way.
Yeah.
Because when I quit this job and I was transitioning to this new job / business, I just played with my payments because I didn't have any money. I didn't have any backup. So I stopped paying my house for 3-4 months, and I would pay 1 month, so I would avoid the
see, that's what I like, man. I like those real life situations like that. That's crazy.
I would start paying my car. I was behind on all the payments.
Yeah.
I was just paying enough for my things not to be repot. Like
Just gaining time.
Yeah, just gaining time.
Cash flowing. You were cash flowing.
Day by day.
Now let's talk about money.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you ever get scared that you're gonna lose it?
You know what? I got scared that I was gonna lose it when I didn't know what I was really doing. Mm-hmm. So I think I don't have the face, but I don't know this off the top of my head, but there's a study. I think it's the first 4 or 5 years of you just doing something new or business, where every day you're doubting yourself. Like, am I really this person? Am I really doing this? And And after so many years, you actually come to realize that you are that person. And the more you, and this is why it's very important to not burn bridges, because the stronger your network is, the more secure you are of not losing what you have,
or the easier it is to get back up.
Yeah. Right.
1,000%.
So listen, always doing right by people, always acting in a good way. It creates such a big network that once you go knock on somebody's door, they're going to open up for you and be like, what do we do together? What do I do with you? Okay, let me give you this. Let's work on that. Blah, blah, blah. So it really, that was at the beginning. At the beginning, I was like, oh, how long is this going to last? Oh, like, I'm going to be broke next year or the year after. And after a little bit, things change. And you cannot be opposed to changing. You gotta change. You gotta flow with the movement. And you are scared, but you cannot let that feeling take over everything else.
Yeah.
There's always anxiety. It's always going to be scary to change business, to do something different, even if you've been doing something for so many years.
Yeah.
But you cannot let that take over your decision making.
Yeah.
And you still got to be cool-headed and do it and take the risk and learn and open up yourself, because that part also comes to like self-realizing that how many things you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. So the more you work on yourself and work on your network, it's gonna make you less scared of losing things or building back up. Mm-hmm. So no, I mean, now I don't really think so much about that. I think that we've done something really great, and even if I had to redo it, it would be a lot easier than the first time that I did it.
Yeah.
So that helps.
How important is money to you?
It facilitates a lot of things. Mm-hmm. It really helps a lot. I think it's not the most important thing, definitely not. And the times that I'm reminded of that are the times that I spend with my kids and my wife. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, this doesn't cost you anything. Like, this is free. Yeah. And like a hug, a kiss, a good time with your kids, anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of nowhere or if it's in your house, or it doesn't matter. It's a fun time anyways. So for
What
that,
number is it at in your level of importance of things in your life? What's that list look like? And where does money fall on that list?
It's important. So I would put it maybe fourth. Yeah, being family and health on top, because with health you can freaking rebuild it again. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's there. I mean, again, it's important. It's important because that also buys you
the time for everything.
Yes, time. It buys you time. Right?
Literally buys you
It buys you time.
Because like the time that you are spending with your kids are bought.
Yes. Yeah,
right?
it is.
So
it is.
It puts you in a position. I think that it buys. I think it's a tool, right?
Yeah.
So it buys time. Do you think? Have you ever bought happiness with money? It's a tricky question, but
it is a tricky question because, like I said, for example, with my kids, no, but you could also make the argument of, well,
I already like the fact that you doubt. Like, or
Yeah.
you're thinking about it because
it is
technically.
I like that question. Have you ever bought happiness?
So
That's another question.
yeah, because I'm trying to rephrase the
Yeah, yeah.
question based on
That was
how
a
I've
good
been
one.
asking that
It's
question.
been
Because
bringing you
as soon as I
That's
ask that
better.
question, it's a no.
Right.
No. So I'm trying to get a little bit more.
No, it
of
is.
you
It
know?
is. It is. I think, and I stopped and thought about it because at the end of the day, so if you start digging deeper and deeper, money had something to do with certain moments and certain things that you have done to be happy. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why I'm thinking is because I was trying to put myself in the situation of, if I didn't have the money, what could have happened? Now, we had our kids because we wanted to have our kids when we were stable in a good situation. We wanted to give our kids certain things, and we wanted to have a certain life for them and not struggle the way we did. So I don't want to say we had kids. I don't want to say we had kids because we had money, but the reason why we had two kids is because we could afford two kids the way we wanted to afford have our kids. We try to be really responsible with that aspect. We were thankfully lucky to, not lucky because that's a bad word. We were able to plan things in the right way, and things worked out the right way for us because we planned our kids, and they came at times that we wanted them to come. And that helps us a lot. So I think at the end of the day, it's really hard for me now to tell you, to differentiate what would have happened without money. I think money like I said, it's an important component of how we do things now.
Has there been like situations where nobody was able to do it, but you were, and you were able to? I don't know if you bought happiness, but it made you maybe feel good that you were able to afford it, so that to bring value to others. So I'll give you an example.
I like where it's going. I like where it's going.
Yeah. So let's say your sister lives in Georgia, right?
Right.
And you guys are gonna have dinner for Thanksgiving.
Right.
And your sister can come because she's not doing well financially.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And you're like,
yeah,
you know what?
Sure.
Let me pay for everything. And
for sure.
Here.
Yeah, for sure.
Would that be considered to you?
Money brings you happiness.
Happiness.
It definitely gives you access to do certain things that without money you would have not been able to do. Definitely, it puts you in positions that allows you to do those things. You know, like.
It's where the attention is at, right? Like,
right.
If we say right now that we need mics, and we have this here, then this becomes valuable, right?
Right.
Because now we need this.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is a perception with, in general, right? Or like our background, the way everybody thinks about money, that it's automatically something bad, but it's literally a tool that you can do great
Yeah,
things.
I mean, I don't like people when they have money. They start saying, "Oh, money's not important." No, like,
which is usually when they say
what
it.
the
they have
fuck?
money.
Like,
Because they have the money.
They say it so they keep making it. You don't.
I mean, yeah, the people who don't have money
why
are
they
looking
say
at
it,
you.
bro.
Are looking at you saying money's not important. You can't eat. You can't pay your rent. Like, what the fuck? Money's not important. What do you mean money's not important?
Yeah.
Like, of course it's important. Like, and that's. I mean. At some point, it could be that one of the reasons of you moving you to the next step. You know, like at some point it stops being the reason, but at some point it was the reason why you started doing something. You know, not for everybody, but for a lot of people. But
and I see a lot of cars. I see a lot of cars out in the street. They're going to work.
Yeah,
they're going to get paid.
Like,
so
that's how I think about it. Bro.
I mean,
I think about
people
like
act like they're above money once they start having some money. Like, what the fuck? Like, don't be so cocky or so. Oh, like I want to be that cool guy that says money's not important. No, I don't really care about it. No, you do care. Like,
that's why. That's literally why everybody wakes up in the morning
goes to work
and spends more
the majority
time
of your day
outside of their house.
We had someone here. No, remember? We had someone here that they're like, "Oh no, I'm not in business for the money." Right? Like I will do
maybe
this without getting paid.
Not anymore,
I'm like,
but
I'm like, well, can you do for free?
right.
You know, I gotta charge. You know, I gotta pay my employee.
Yeah, no,
we're going
I mean,
back to the same, to the same point.
It sounds like it's the cool thing to say, right? Like,
it's
money's
the
not
trending thing.
important.
You said it right.
It's a trend.
Money's not important.
I'm gonna clickbait that.
Yeah, it's like it's a cool thing to say that money's not important. Like, no, like it is important. Like, you pay health insurance with money, so at some point you could say, yeah, money brings me happiness because I can, like I can pay my trainer because to the gym because I have the money to afford it. You know, I can play tennis because I can afford it. I mean,
it gives you experiences. Like if you like that car. Like, you're not going to tell me it's the same thing driving, like, like a shitty car versus a nice car from point A to point B, because it'll bring you opportunity. The experience is different. It buys, like, that whole comparison of, it's just a car. It gets you from point A to point B. Yeah, drive down 5th in a beat up car with no doors.
Yes.
Versus, a super nice car.
Yeah.
Park up somewhere. You're most likely going to make connections. You're going to, it opens up doors for business, for relationships.
In planet Earth. Right?
Yes. I don't know if they're in different planets. Maybe it's a different situation, but here it works out. And I'll tell you that the car thing is it's a very just talking about that, but it's funny because I always tell people about this. I had a really nice car, like a sports car, and one of the things you don't realize is, dude, if your ego is not checked and you buy a nice car, that can definitely send you down the spiral.
Yeah.
Because it calls so much attention to you. Mm-hmm. I don't like the attention. So I actually had to tint my car because it was getting so much attention on you. But if your ego is not in check, man, it will just take your head somewhere else. It's really dangerous to do something like that. Yeah. But at the same time, if you know how to handle it, it will create a lot of great opportunities and experiences. Like, listen, I was eating. We were out with my wife, and my daughter was in school, so I was with my son, and we were eating in a nice restaurant for lunch. It was a very casual thing. I mean, it wasn't that cheap to begin with, and I was like years ago, and I told her right on the spot. I'm like, can you see? Like, remember when we went once to a really nice place when we didn't have any money? And this is when $150 dinner was really expensive. So you would go out. We went out to this really nice place, and one of these places. If you go to these places, I didn't realize that you don't buy a dish. You buy multiple things to eat. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like you go to TGI Fridays. There's nothing wrong with that. I love TGI Fridays. I love their pasta. They have like a great Cajun chicken shrimp pasta. I love that thing. But you buy a $25 plate or $20 plate, and that's it. You're good. Uh-huh. But when you go to a nice place,
you gotta buy
a lot of things because you order one and it's like 2 little pieces of something.
Yeah.
So we went to this nice place in Miami, and I took friends with me. I was like, hey, I heard about this place. It's really supposed to be really good. Let's go. And you look at the menu, and you go, oh, yeah, $50, $40. Oh, it's not that bad. We just $50 each is $100. A couple of drinks, $150. Oh, that's great. That's good. Dude, we went to eat to this place, and we had to go eat pizza after. We were down in Miami. We went to Collins, and we went to Pizza Rustica, and we had to have dinner in Pizza Rustica after. We dropped $200 in that dinner. Me and my wife, we dropped $200 in that dinner, and we were like
So
a piece of fish that was this size, and we had to go eat somewhere else. And then years later, fast forward to about a month and a half ago, and we were eating in this place with my son, and my son is a year and a half, and he's eating this thing that I didn't try until I was 30 something years old, you know. I'm like, this is amazing, and he was enjoying it.
Yeah.
This little guy can tell the freaking difference between the Chinese place in the corner of my house to a really nice restaurant, because he's eating like listen, when I bring some good meat on the table, they're not eating like it's a Pollo Tropical steak. They eat it with a different emotion. They're really going at it. So when I take them to, like, I love sushi, so
They'll get used to it.
I buy sushi from the local place in my house, which is not bad. It's good. But then you go to this nice place in Miami, and it's like a different type of fish. I don't know what the heck they do, but the salmon tastes different. They pay a lot more for that thing. I don't know what it is. But dude, my son was like eating the whole thing. I was like, dude, I've never seen my son eating like that fish. And then you go, well, this is a nice place. And then you come to realize, like, you looking at my son enjoying that experience and being able to taste those things like that.
Yeah, that experience itself.
Dude, that's amazing.
Brings you happiness.
That's all with money.
It brings me happiness.
So you buy one.
I bought it, yes. There you go. We came full circle. Yeah.
People, I think in general, everybody likes nice things.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah.
How can you not? You know, how can you not? Because you appreciate. I feel like just naturally, you see a nice car or something on the menu. Every time, this has happened to me since I was little, I look at the menu, I'm like, that sounds really good. And then I look at the price, the most expensive thing. Dude, why do I always go for that?
This is true. Someone told me
Because you're
once,
like your mom.
I don't aim, very close to me, by the way. I don't aim for, like, to get a jet. I don't aim for that. Mm-hmm. Bro, I bet you that I buy a jet, and she will be the first one in it, bro.
Hell yeah.
Like, guaranteed. Yes. No, I'm not going to say who. But
it's true.
I just think that everybody wants it. Just not everybody wants to put the work for it.
Yes.
Or sometimes with my dad, right? Like, he'll be like, we'll tell him, like, yeah, we just met this person. We were hanging out with this person, this and that. And, like, you should have seen their garage. Huge garage, tent, freaking Ferrari, Lamborghini, Rolls, this, and range, everything. 10 cars. And he's like, damn, but why does he need 10 for what?
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, in business, like, you just have to make that expense. Like, at times, like,
right.
It's a different game.
You play a different game. So, and then it's just interesting, man. Like, there's so much abundance. I think there's so much abundance. Sean talks about that a lot, right? I think that there's so much like money. There's so much money around. Like, there's so much opportunity.
Yep.
It's just it's almost like the red car effect. Like, if you're not looking when you're driving, you don't see it.
Right.
But then as soon as you think about, I'm going to try to spot red cars, you see a bunch of them everywhere. The same thing with money and opportunity. I feel like when you open up your mind and that perspective of, I'm going to look for opportunity, and when I see opportunity, provide as much value as I can and work. And
you know what? People think, I feel that people feel or think, just because conversations that you have with people, that it's more difficult than it actually is. I'm not saying it's easy. By no means. It's not easy. We said that about this. We talked about this before. It's not easy. But people they feel that it's even more difficult than what it actually is. Mm-hmm. What it takes first is just getting out of your bed and just doing. Yeah. Just doing. It honestly is as difficult as it is. It's not as difficult, I feel, as people may think it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if there's somebody actually trying to do something, just trust me, it's not as hard as you think it is. It's easier than you think it is. Again, it's not easy, but it's not as hard as you think.
Like you said, study what the market you're going to go into in the business, because the business you go into matters. Like the vehicle you decide to drive matters. Some are faster than others, like some are faster than others, some are more well equipped. So the industry, definitely like study the industry, the market. And like business, I just think with people, it must be really, I think that people get caught in this safe net because you're doing the 9 to 5 and it's safe. But if you kind of think about it, it will always be there. There will always be a 9 to 5.
You can always go back to that.
Yes, exactly.
We can take this like 3 hours, man, but I gotta read the, do you want me to do
the
that?
questions?
Yeah.
Oh, there's questions.
These are rapid fire, just random fun questions.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay. So, what digital software tools do you use daily to make your life easier?
Calendly is one of them, very important one.
That's great.
ChatGPT, because as much as I don't like to read, I like to write. So it redacts all my letters and emails. So it's amazing.
So you've been unlocking and unwavering a lot.
Definitely. I love that. I love that. It makes me sound so much smarter than I actually am. It's awesome. Trust me, for real. I swear, I don't know how to write these damn emails. It makes me sound so much smarter. And the other one that I use a lot, I was actually using it last night. I use it a lot. It's just a page, a small PDF. It just helps you convert pictures into PDFs and put together PDFs. I think those three are the one. Oh no, and you know which one that I love? Actually, I was using it last night too. Firefly. Do you know what it is? It's a AI that you put it into your Zoom meetings or any meeting, and it transcripts everything, and it actually reads the conversation. It compacts the most important parts. No. It gets it.
So when
actually,
you're not paying attention, you have
Yes. No. And you know what? For example, last night I had a meeting. The meeting was at 10:30 at night, and my partner couldn't make it to the meeting because it was a last minute meeting, and it was a 2-hour meeting. So I was like, he was like, oh, I can't make it. So I was like, okay, let me just plug in the Firefly, and this morning I sent it to him, and so it actually highlights the most important parts of the conversation. Brings you bullet points to the conversation, so you can just read the synopsis and you already know what happened.
And it summarizes
the most important part. So that's a great tool, because if you want to go back to a meeting that you weren't present or that you got distracted or whatever, then you can just read the notes. It's amazing. It's a note taker for you. It's amazing. I love what's doing technology.
Do you guys use CRMs? For your companies?
We use CRMs. A big one that we're using now that's a really, really strong tool. It's Builder Trend. Builder Trend is a great place. It does a CRM. It does the accounting. It does everything for you. It's a great one. We also, in another company, we use Monday too. But Monday is more like a blank.
Scheduler, right?
It's like a blank. No, it's like a blank platform that you can plug in a lot of things into it. But Builder Trend is a more robust platform, definitely.
Okay, I will give you one that you're gonna like.
Oh, really? Awesome.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone. Hey, I mean, not just iPhone, but like
everybody
Mac,
hates the green.
But Mac, not even about that. Just
Apple.
like the Apple, like the way it connects all the computers in the office are Apple computers. Because I mean, texting, connecting with everything is just so much easier. So much.
I
easier.
like the texting part of the of Apple.
The computer, the tablet, it's everywhere. It's all my things. Like even now, I used to have like the bigger iPhone, and the bigger iPhone wasn't doing anything for me to type. So what I do now, I just got the smaller iPhone and carry a tablet with me everywhere. So anytime I do a text, I just open my tablet on my tablet.
Can you text someone from your computer, from Apple computer, that has maybe like an Android?
I don't think so.
No, right? It's only
it annoys the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Like, you're not receiving my text messages. You have damn Android. Change. I've actually switched people. Yeah. It forced people
Read
to.
messages.
Yeah, but they have I have one guy left now that has an Android. I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to go to Apple.
You want to talk to
if I'm texting you from the computer, I don't want to have to go to my phone. So you're gonna have to get an iPhone.
Yeah, for
I'm gonna turn them into. I'm gonna make him get an iPhone at some point. Yeah. I've converted people.
If you can only eat if you can only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
If I could only eat one thing for the rest of my life, what would it be? And we're not caring about putting on weight, right? It's just about okay, cool. So I don't know how it's said in English, but it's salchipapas.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but
with all the sauces.
No, but you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm a texture person. Mm-hmm. I love textures. More than flavors, is more about the texture. Flavor matters too. But the salchipapa, the way I like it, I like it both ways. But this way is the potato, instead of being whole, you just chop it into little cuadraditos, little blocks.
Okay.
And you mix it up with an egg. You put an egg. You just scramble it all together.
Like a tortilla.
No, it just scrambled together. It's not a tortilla. It's just
a scramble with
like there's a lot of
potato.
It's like a chipapa, but you just find a lot of little pieces of eggs everywhere, and rice on the side. It's a complete shit show for your carb intake. I mean, your carb intake is a complete mess after
You would
that.
love
That ratio,
But dude,
bro, that's the Peru ratio.
Yes, a lot of
That
potatoes.
what's it called?
Arroz con pollo.
Arroz con pollo. Arroz like
Yes.
this, pollo like
Yes,
this.
totally. It's
He always
like
makes fun of
a
us.
lot of potato, a lot of rice, and a little bit of hot dog, which is protein, which is not even that great protein, but it's still protein. I love that thing. I think I could eat that a
Well, the
lot.
egg is protein too.
The what? Oh, the egg. Yeah, you're right. That one egg for
heard of it.
20 ounces of rice. It's
sounds
a
good,
great
though.
combination.
And we should start having
Rice,
salchipapa
potato,
here.
and egg.
We should do a podcast with salchipapa.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
spread.
And something very important. That salchipapa, you gotta eat it with a freaking damn big spoon. It's not a fork. Fork doesn't work. You gotta.
The potato small, right?
What's that?
The potato small.
Potato small, yeah, potato small. That's why it works. You get a big spoon, like a soup spoon, like those big ones, and you just shovel. This is a shovel. You just need a shovel. You
People
shovel
are
it
gonna be
into your
like,
mouth.
salchipapa?
What is that? A salchipapa?
Yeah, no,
What was that? What's that? Hot dog and
It's hot dog
potato.
and
Yeah.
fries.
Yeah,
essentially, right?
Yeah,
French
yeah.
fries.
A
Yeah.
regular
So
one?
I shovel it into my mouth.
Yeah.
Do you prefer winter or summer?
Winter.
What is your favorite holiday?
None of them. You used to.
Why?
I got traumatized when I was a kid. Honestly, this is not
What's
a
the
joke.
one that
This is for
traumatized
real.
you?
What happened?
The most?
Because
The Easter bunny.
no, I'm not a great celebration guy. I've changed that recently because of my kids, and my wife made me
He doesn't like to leave the
notice. Yeah, no, but you know what happened? That I mean, I take it in a light way because it didn't happen to me directly, but. So I grew up a lot of my childhood. I spent a lot of time with my grandpa and my dad. So my grandpa and my dad lost his mom when he was 15. So I grew up with them. So every holiday was your grandma is not here. So it was always a sad situation.
Okay.
So there was never celebration. Every birthday, every holiday was your grandma is not here.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even meet my grandma. Like, why am I taking on this the grief? Like, why? Like,
Wow.
I just didn't know. So I grew up never celebrating anything and everything. Always, I was like, but your grandma is not here. Like, so Christmas.
So you didn't
New
celebrate it
Year,
at all? Or
You know
you
what that
celebrated
is?
it, but in a sad
it was a sad
way?
celebration.
Yeah,
It was a sad celebration.
So
Yeah.
Look
So-
forward to it.
You know what that's called?
Yeah.
That's programming, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You got programmed like that.
I got programmed like that. So it took therapy and work and all that to overcome that situation. But now with my kids, because my wife was telling me, hey, dude, like, we're going to have kids at some point. You got to, like,
Celebrate.
chill out. Like, don't be so sad. Like, I didn't like to celebrate anything.
And you never met your grandma?
No. My dad was 15.
Oh, your dad
My
was
dad was
15?
15. I never met her.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I just took on the grief. That's it,
bro. That's what.
It's
that's
so
what,
crazy
that's
what you can do to your kids without even noticing.
Yes.
What you could do to people in general.
People, yeah, for sure.
Just by telling them over
and
over.
And you know what? I didn't even know this until 4 or 5 years ago that I started going to therapy, and then we found out that I had taken all that grief with me, and the grief that wasn't mine to be taken.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But now, because the holidays are cool, man. Like,
now I love the holidays.
End of the year comes
Especially
around.
with kids.
Yes.
But he's got to reprogram.
You got to reprogram.
It wasn't easy. It was a process. It's taken a few holidays.
I feel like you got to get into to really enjoy the holidays. You have to get into the holiday spirit in the sense of not think that it's like a burden. You know what I mean? Like oh damn, now we got to decorate for.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at it like that, then it's like you're probably not gonna like it too much. But if you're like that, you look at it like we only have these 3 months, let's say, right? October to end of the year. It's just cool. It's a nice vibe. You know, we're in Florida. It gets a little cold.
Yeah, I've learned to actually like the holidays, and now I celebrate it. I wear my holidays, my ugly sweaters. I got like 3 ugly sweaters now. I wear them all throughout December. I'm just wearing ugly sweaters, and they're nice because they have a bow tie. All of them have a bow tie. So it's an ugly sweater with a bow tie, so that actually makes it more elegant. But I wear my ugly sweater all Christmas.
I love it. Man. Do you prefer to relax? At the beach or pool? You can tell
in the couch.
Closer.
Yeah. I'm like
in the couch.
In the couch.
In the couch.
Couch.
That question.
This question is good. If you can only work 2 hours a week, what will you do in those 2 hours?
God damn, 2 hours a week.
Yep.
Why would I do in those 2 hours? Well, okay, I would just meet with my team so we can keep, producing.
Yeah, making it more effective, right?
Yeah, make it more effective. I would just create a better, bigger team, stronger. They don't depend on me at all. And those 2 hours we go into just meeting up with them and going over everything.
That's good.
I know these are rapid fire, but are you guys expanding? Just really quick. You are?
Yeah, we are.
How big do you want to get?
I don't have what big. I just
employees. Put a number. How big?
I mean, whatever it takes.
What state? How many states?
4 or 5. Okay. So whatever that takes, possibly more. I mean, I don't. For a long time, what you were saying before about the plane. For a long time, I thought, and I was like, I don't want to have a plane because that requires too much involvement, and I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. That's when I didn't know anything about management. I was just micromanaging everything. It was a mess. So, but then I realized that I was putting a cap to myself without even knowing I was doing it. So then I opened up my mind to, and this whole thing is a process. I'm not saying people should, have this open mind all of a sudden, like you go from your 9 to 5 now, I'm gonna open up my mind. It's a process, it's a learning experience. It takes you making mistakes and then learning from them, which is very important. But I don't want to cap it because before I was saying I don't want to get to that point, and then I got to that point, and I want to get to that point, and then I got to the next point. So, dude, where I want to grow, I like to do what I do, and I'm gonna do it until I can't do it anymore.
And we'll see where it takes you.
Yeah, where it takes me. I mean, if it takes me to different countries, then we'll go to different countries. I just there's no cap to it. How many people, whatever people takes to make everything happen.
Love it. Love that.
If you can have lunch with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Your grandma.
No. I mean, listen, no.
No offense to your dad.
Yeah, no. I've always had 2 people that I wanted to talk to, and just because I wouldn't really. I don't really know why. I don't have it. It's really not a crazy smart answer. It's just gonna be Chespirito and Cantinflas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not like some scientist or some business mind. No, it's a very simple answer. Yeah.
Who is that?
Chespirito from El Chavo.
El Chavo.
El Chavo. Yeah, the main guy, Roberto Gómez Bolaños, and Cantinflas. the Mexican
For
guy.
sure,
too.
a lot of questions to ask, right?
Yeah,
What was in the barrel?
What was in the barrel?
Inside, they were saying that there was
Yeah.
like an apartment not in the barrel.
They just, I mean, especially Roberto Bolaños, to me, when I love watching his interviews, and I still do. I was actually watching them not too long ago, Cantinflas too. It just, they had such a vibe to them that I just like it.
Yeah.
It just out of curiosity, nothing to information about this or some knowledge.
Just entertain a conversation.
There's no sophisticated answer to that question, honestly.
When you think of the word successful, who comes to mind?
Shoot, like an actual person, you mean? I like Gary Vee, and I like more locally. I like PVD, Patrick Bet David. I like those two guys. I like what they do. There's some other guys that I don't like because they just concentrate too much on the money aspect of things.
Who's one of those?
I know who he's gonna say.
Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone. I think he just focuses. To me, I mean, great. The guy that's obviously amazing, and if you had to think about money, was probably him. But in general, I like more the approach of Gary Vee and PVD, because they, especially Gary Vee. No, PVD too, because they both concentrate not just on the money, but on growing personally, working on yourself, and that's, to me, it's been a great part of my growth. So I like those two a lot.
Yeah. Have you ever crossed paths with PVD? Because he's in Fort Lauderdale, right?
I've gone to a couple of his things. We went to the Vault last year. Me and one of my partners. We went to the Vault. That was it was a 200 people show, which is quite small for his type of shows. Or presentations, rather, not shows. It's not like he's making an actual show. Presentation. There's 200 people. That's as close as I've gotten to him.
Yeah. He's a smart guy, man.
Yeah.
He's insurance, right? He started
life insurance.
And he still has it, I think.
I think he's still part of it. We actually met. I don't know. I forgot. We met with Dr. Biz. We paid a consultation. We actually paid for two. We only took one. We got to take the second one. We went to his office, to Valuetainment's office in Fort Lauderdale, and we sat down with Dr. Biz. Actually, there's a point to that. That was also a eye-opening time for me, because I don't know if I can say this, but. So we were starting the business. Which is still kind of on. It didn't develop fully, but still there. And we're like, okay, let's see with somebody that can tell us if the business goes or doesn't go. So we called Valuetainment, and we told them what we wanted to do. There's a guy that pre-screens what you're gonna say, what you're gonna do, and based on that, they suggest which coach you should be using or not.
So you went for consulting.
Consulting, right. So they told us, hey, you should, based on what you want to do, the two more appropriate people that we see is Dr. Biz, which is on his show, and PVD. Now, the rate that PVD charges, it was an amount that I was like, can somebody's time be worth that much? And yes, it is. I'm not saying it's not. Yes, it is. But then it came to my mind like, there's really no limit. Like, you think your hour is worth what? $4,000? $5,000? Is it worth $10,000? Well, how about times that many more times? And that's one of these guys charges you per hour. And you go, oh wow, I never knew people could charge that by the hour. Like, it's a year salary, a good year salary by the hour. Yeah. And then they tell you, well, you gotta, the only issue with that is that if you take him, well, it's a lot of investment, but he can only see you once a month because he's booked the rest of the time. So you go, wow, like that really opened up my mind to this next level of things.
That's what I was about to say.
There's
like,
so much more. There's so much more.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Yes. And that's such a key sentence, you don't know what you don't know.
And you don't want what you don't know.
Right.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. So you gotta know to be able to actually get to that point.
Yeah.
So that I think
there's abundance, bro.
I'll tell you, we pay quite a bit of money for that consultation. Not with PVD, but with PVD. No, we didn't have the money to pay PVD. Unfortunately, I would have loved to just meet the guy. But just the fact that I knew about that really sunk in me, like to know how much somebody can charge by the hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, like that really, I don't know if it was at that point, but that was really like, you know what? I want to have one day my private plane, and just because I also don't like to laying lines and waiting. It's like, oh, you know what?
Private planes are a hack, life hack.
They are a life hack. They are. And
30 minutes from here to Miami.
And I've been listening more to
30 minutes, bro.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I was driving here. I was like, shit, I wish I had my plane. And now I've started. Since then, I started now listening to people who have private planes and how they have them and why they have them. And there's this, which I think is also really cool. This guy in England that sells you planes. I don't know if
the jet business.
Yes, that has a huge screen and tells you which planes you want.
It's great.
So you gotta open up your mind to that. You gotta open up your mind. You gotta unlock that side of things and be like, you know what? No shit, I want it.
Yeah.
And you know what? With proper management and proper structure in your companies, you can grow at a much faster.
Yeah.
And actually get to that point. Yeah. And it's not unreachable. And trust me, about 4 years ago, I was thinking, I don't want to get to that place. Yeah. So it is. So, and that's what I'm saying. You just gotta get started. You just gotta get started and just
keep
get
your
going.
Mind open.
Yeah, keep your mind open.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, if you can choose any other career path, what would it be?
Well, I chose the career of business, not of a public adjuster, by the way, which was also a turning point. Thinking, oh, I'm a public adjuster. Oh, I want to become the best public adjuster. And then with time,
great answer.
And then with time, you go, oh no, I'm not a public adjuster. I like business. Yeah. So my path is business. It's not public adjusting. I'm not attached to like my name is not attached to a position like public adjuster or general contractor or to an industry. Yeah. I'm attached to a business. Yeah. And I love that. So that's my career. So which other career? I just love business. I don't see myself anywhere else.
Yeah. I think the same way.
It's a great answer.
Yeah. What's been your best investment?
My best investment has been wasting $60,000 when I didn't have money. I got into an accident. I was still working. I was broke. And then there was a settlement for $60,000. It was a truck driver hit us while driving, and I got that payout. Mm-hmm. And that money was gone in 12 months.
Where'd it go?
Shit, I don't know. Like
completely wasted.
Dinners in Miami.
Completely wasted, yeah. Completely wasted shit that I couldn't afford. Because you think, oh, I have $60,000.
Where do you think it went?
I bought some
dinners.
No, probably. I don't even remember now.
Bro, dinners stack up, man.
Yes, they do. Yeah. But you start living this life of a $60,000 payout. Like you're gonna be getting $60,000 a month, you know, and it goes by really quick. But it showed me how fast money can go. Those were the best $60,000 I've ever spent. Because the knowledge that he brought to me, it was so much bigger than the $60,000. I don't think there was a school in the world that could have taught me how quick and what money is worth when I spend those $60,000 so quick. You feel so rich, like, oh my gosh, I had never had that much money in my bank account. Mm-hmm. So that money hits my bank account. I'm like, oh shit, I'm good.
You're rich.
Oh shit, let's go. Like we can just go, babe, where's the restaurant that we couldn't afford? Let's go eat there now. Let's order the whole thing. And then shit, you're only making $2,000 a month. So that money is gonna go really quick. Yeah. You're trying to live a life that doesn't belong to you. Yeah. So
It's crazy.
that money taught me a lot.
And
Those
12
were
months took you a long time.
I don't.
I would have
no,
said like
I was
some
like, no,
months.
I was actually being.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was really happy.
Yeah, I was actually a lot less.
4
than
months,
that.
4 months.
It was actually a lot less than that. But those were the best $60,000 I've ever spent. And I would see that as an investment. That's definitely has been an investment. Now that I think about it, it was
Good
an
way to see
investment.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely an investment.
Good.
Definitely.
Will you do it again though?
What? Like
Meaning, like spend it like that.
no, that's what taught me.
Good. So that was the investment.
That was the lesson. That was the
that's what I'm
lesson.
saying. That was the investment. That was definitely investment.
That was a learning course you bought.
Oh my gosh, so big.
$60K.
And that's why people, if I had to say something, you always have to learn out of the experience that you go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no bad experience.
You never lose. You always
You're
learn.
just not looking at it the right way.
Yeah.
It's not a bad experience. You're just not looking at it the right way. And you don't have to go try to get into an accident to get another $60,000 payout. You just gotta learn that shit. I need to make this much money to actually live that life that I want to live, and not waste it. Like I just wasted those $60,000. So it was amazing. That's always with me. I always remember that one. It's always in my head. It lives rent free in my head, and it's still paying out. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Nice. What's a bad piece of advice you've heard people tell?
telling others.
A bad piece of advice that I heard people telling us. I have a I don't know if I want to call it something good or bad. I don't know if it's a trait or bad or good. I have a really good ear to block things out. Like when something doesn't equate to me, I just put it aside. I have a really good.
So you either pay really good attention or you
not at all.
literally disconnect.
Yeah, disconnect. Yeah, I'm really good at disconnecting.
We're very similar, bro.
I think so, right? For the way she looked at you, like, oh, that's you, bro. That's you.
That's you, that's
definitely you.
Yeah.
So I'm really good at blocking things out. So
What zodiac sign are you?
what's that?
What zodiac sign are you?
Aries.
Oh, I was gonna say Cancer.
No. What's Cancer? What month is that?
July. But I don't know from where to where. I don't know.
From the 20th.
You know.
June to the 20th.
I love what you just said because it's something that I do. Is when I meet somebody and I'm going to business with them, I ask them about their Chinese zodiac.
Yeah.
Which I find is really accurate. And the other one that I would love to do, but it's a little more personal, is I would love to do the I don't know how to say it in English. It's la carta astral. What is that?
Remember those cards that you play and
No. The carta astral is the way the planets are aligned.
Oh, yeah,
were aligned the day that you were born. The time and the date and the year that you were born, the planets were aligned in a certain way, and it says a lot about yourself. So I believe in that. So I wish I could just make everybody that I go in business with go through that, so I can
Learn more from them before.
Yes,
you even
because so the simplest one is just going to the Chinese zodiac, and that helps me. But the carta astral is way
accurate.
deeper. It would be amazing to just have everybody go through that. Just helps you learn somebody so much about somebody, because then you know, oh, okay, so they're like this because of that, and it just helps you manage that situation.
Yeah.
All we do in business is deal with different people and manage
Psychology.
I mean, manage personalities and not manage them, but be able to make those relationships work, you know? And I think that the more you know that person, the easier it is for you to actually make that relationship work.
Absolutely.
I love it, man. Well, Juan, thank you so much.
This was the longest podcast so far,
That we've
man.
had,
So
yeah.
it was great. It was a great conversation.
How long has it been?
2
hours. And
2 hours.
No shit, 2 hours?
Yeah.
God damn.
Blue, right?
I feel like when people go to Joe Rogan's podcast, they go, I've been to a song that long. I love it.
No, man.
He reminds me. You remind me of Andres.
Dylan?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Andresito, really?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bro.
He's no longer with us, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was funny.
Good
He was
friend,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, bro, I love this this podcast. It was honestly great to speak with you, and you know, you're Peruvian, so we can relate on a lot of things and mentality, perspective. So just want to say, you know, thank you so much for your time today. It's truly appreciated. And thank you for making the drive, you know.
This was awesome, guys. I really had a good time. This was a lot of fun. I love conversations, and this was a lot of fun. So
You're for sure starting that podcast.
what? Yeah, for sure. I missed it. I love this. I love talking to people. I love having conversation because it makes you think. The questions and the stuff, comes up, you know. So no, thank you guys. Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.